Good morning, Eugenetics. We are now at my book reading number 25, The Well-Dressed Lady. She boarded ahead of everybody. It was a Manila-Singapore flight. She stowed her small hand carry and went to the boarding door. She was a Chinese lady from Hong Kong, and she was 40 years old. She wore a very presentable dress of cream with skirt flowing just below her knees. She wore a matching blazer that made her look like a young professional. She stood by the first row of seats. She greeted the passengers, carried their bags, and guided them to their seats. Sorry. When seated, she would ask what drink the passengers wanted and get them from the nearest galley. This was an economy cabin. If a passenger wanted beer, she knew where to get it. If they wanted Coke, she gave it to them. This is still boarding time. The passengers really thought she was with us, as her dress was almost of the same shade of the old khaki uniform of the flight attendants. We did not notice this until one passenger called our attention as to why the left leg of the flight attendant was smaller than the other. I went to talk to her, told her to sit down and leave us to work. But she would not sit down. She continued to meet the incoming passengers, assist them to their seats, and gave them their preferred drinks, even the alcoholic drinks. She was more enthusiastic than the cabin crew. You can say that. The trouble was she offered the alcoholic drinks upon boarding, which is not our standard in the economy section. You can do that in the business class and first class. Being the steward in that area, I called her and asked her to stop giving alcoholic drinks. We had to seal and padlock our drink trolley. Then it stopped. But she continued to work by assisting incoming passengers, even much better than the crew. The passengers who noticed her polio leg condition started making a mockery out of it. This lady knew the sequence of crew movements. She became so enthusiastic to the point that she already interfered with the crew movements. With the door closed and we were ready to make the safety demo, she demanded to have a set of her own demo. When she was not given, she would try to grab it from the crew, doing the safety demonstration. It became funny. It was irritating as well. I persuaded her to sit down and she will do the next safety demonstration. After takeoff, while I was placing the hot casseroles into the food trolley, she came in and prepared the drinks on top of the trolley. For the flight attendant, she was interfering with their work. They really found it so irritating that a passenger would come in and do the works of the flight attendants. They raised their voice for, for her to get out and sit down. It fell on deaf ears. She was savoring what she was doing. She loved doing the job of the flight attendant. Then she started to interfere with me. She wanted those hot casseroles in my hands, 8 of them, hot casseroles, so she can insert them into the food trolley herself. I had gloves on my hands. She did not have any. She would insist to get those hot casseroles. I would run to the other side of the trolley and she would run after me and try to get those casseroles. I would insert a few and run to the other side of the trolley. I started to raise my voice, telling her to get out of the galley. You are interfering with our movement. I realized it was very dangerous, so I thought of an idea for her to stop harassing me. I gave her a tray and very calmly, almost to the point of pleading, told her to go around the cabin to instead collect all the dirty plastic glasses, the plastic wrapper of the blankets, and the scattered newspapers. Thus, we were able to finish the food preparation and wheel out the trolley. I did the same gimmick when the food were distributed. I gave her another tray and told her calmly to collect the same things. This lady passenger never sat down after takeoff until landing. She moved around the cabin much more eager than the cabin crew. She did not eat. She just wanted to work, the work of the cabin crew. I approached her and talked to her. She intimated to me that she was from Hong Kong. She would stay for a while in Singapore away from a physically abusive husband. Since childhood, she already traveled with her family. She belonged to a well-to-do Hong Kong family. That was where she got the idea of becoming a flight attendant. She enjoyed the work of the flight attendant. She was amazed at how good they looked in their uniforms and the way they put on their makeup. The flight attendants were flawless. These were the things she would look forward during their annual family travels since her childhood. Then she contracted polio. Her dream died. But her enthusiasm stayed. I explained it to every cabin crew. They started talking to her. She ate with the crew standing inside the galley, and she loved it. She talked with us spiritedly, but shades of sadness can be traced on her countenance and her almond eyes. After eating with us, she got her favorite tray and went around the cabin collecting dirties. Everything went on smoothly. She sat in her assigned passenger seat for landing in Manila, no, rather in Singapore. She was calm. The look on her face told me of self-satisfaction. She was able to live her dream even for 3 hours only, and that was more than she could ask for. Before the doors opened, in Singapore, she stood by the door near her seat to bid passengers goodbye, like we cabin crew normally do. She thanked each and every passenger for flying Philippine Airlines. To some, she would shake hands and smile. When all the passengers were out, the ground staff in Singapore came back from the gate. One passenger was missing in the immigration. We really thought they were all out, all the passengers out. Then we noticed the lady at the rear section of the cabin. She was collecting blankets and folded them neatly, one by one. The ground staff asked her to go down and go to the immigration and customs, but she refused. She continued to collect used blankets and folded them neatly. She only left the cabin after all the blankets were neatly folded. She thanked us and then she left. In my mind, the 3-hour flight fulfilled her long-time dream to becoming a flight attendant. It was also a reprieve from the cruelty of a physically abusive husband. More than that, the crew learned a lesson on the dignity of labor and loving your job. I never encountered that lady again. She failed to become a flight attendant for physical disability, but she lived the job in her heart. I still recall her last words to me before she disembarked. If I happen to fly with you again, will you lend me another tray? I boomed in laughter and said, yes, yes, plenty of trays I will lend to you. And she was gone. Eugenics, ladies and gentlemen, this is a long story and we have to end it here. Let's wait for another Wednesday to continue for another story. Thank you, Eugenics. I love you.